So in this student's case, the sweet spot is 85. That student should be attempting somewhere around 85 so that he or she can score that optimum marks. This question or a question on similar lines is highly likely to be asked in the examination, keeping with the trends of past 2-3 years. This question is completely random to you and you must be compulsorily skipping this question. So again, we take that risk. We mark option C. We might go wrong, but here the risk is worth it. Hardly 1 week is left for the UPSC prelims examination, and this is the best time to understand the best practices that will help us score additional marks in the upcoming exam, and ignoring which can cost us real marks in the upcoming exam. Well, hello dear students, I am Zishan Hashmi, and in today's brief video, I'm going to discuss 5 best practices that can help you score 8 to 10 marks higher in the upcoming prelims examination. And these learnings are based on my interactions with students who have been facing these difficulties, and after having implemented these learnings, they have been able to enhance their marks. Also, in the later part of this video, we'll be discussing about how the Dominate Prelims Open Test 3 will be helping you get those additional marks, and the top 50 students, the top 50 rankers will be getting free access to Dominate Prelims module and scholarship for their mains preparation. So quickly, let's begin guys. The 5 best practices that we are going to discuss today are learning to leave trap questions. Number 2, the degree of risk we should be taking in the examination. The sweet spot, the number of questions that we would be attempting, not less, not more. We'll be trying to understand the paper setter's expectations. What does the paper setter expect from us through the paper? And revising important yet ignored topics. So let's quickly start by the first item, that is leaving trap questions. Art of leaving trap questions. Let's take this example of a question asked in Prelims 2023. The question asked consists of the following statements: lion-tailed macaque, Malabar civet, sambar deer, and how many of the above are generally nocturnal or most active after sunset? Now guys, if UPSC starts asking us questions on the behavior and nature of animals as to whether the given species are nocturnal, whether the given species portray sexual dimorphism, or the whether the given species release or emit what kind of pheromones, these would be completely abstract or completely random questions which we as UPSC civil services aspirants are not expected to know. So the rational decision here would be you should be leaving this question and similar questions which are more random in nature. Let's take one more example from the Dominate Prelims Open Test 2 that was held last week. This question falls in the similar category. The question says, all the countries across the globe have witnessed a decrease in primary forest loss in 2022-23. Total tropical primary forest loss in 2023 totaled around 15 million hectares globally. Non-fire related forest loss is higher than that of fire related forest loss in 2022-2023. Now, if you don't have any idea with respect to primary forest loss, the degree to which primary forest loss has happened or has not happened, you are completely blank. This question is completely random to you and you must be compulsorily skipping this question. So this was from the Open Test 2. Now guys, the next question that strikes the mind is if we are expected to leave random questions, abstract questions, then should we not be taking risk at all in the examination? So let's understand the degree to which you should be taking risk. Unlike the previous questions that we discussed, which must be compulsorily left, let's take example of another question from Prelims 2023, which we can solve using or by taking risk, which has some logical component attached to it. The question says, Which of the following organisms perform waggle dance for others of their kin to indicate the direction and the distance to a source of their food? Options were butterflies, dragonflies, honeybees, and wasps. Now here, most of the students did not know particularly about waggle dance, but they knew about the other species, the other creatures which were asked, be it butterflies, dragonflies, honeybees, or wasps. And if you look at this question more closely, this question is indirectly asking you as to which among the four creatures are most social in nature. And based on our general understanding, it's relatively easy to make out that honeybees are likely to be the most social creatures among these creatures. And honeybees is likely to be the correct answer because the question is emphasizing on a particular dance that is being performed for their kin. So a social behavior. So here we can take that risk. It is very much possible that we might go wrong, but this question is not completely random compared to this question asked by UPSC. Which of the species are nocturnal? This question is relatively less abstract, less random, and there is that room for logical interplay. Similarly, let's take an example from Dominant Prelims Open Test 2 held earlier. The question asks, which of the following statements is incorrect about tight gas? Now again, the students, when they gave this test, many among those did not have any idea about tight gas, as to what tight gas really is. But they went through the options and probed whether some logical framework can be applied here. And based on their learning, many among those students were able to mark option C, that is tight gas is found in conventional reserves, as the incorrect statement. Let's not forget that the question is asking which of the following is incorrect. So option C, tight gas is found in conventional reserves, is an incorrect statement. Now let's understand this in some depth. If the name is tight gas, it's a self-explanatory term. It's a suggestive name, tight gas. This is a gas that is distinct, that is different from conventional gas. Now, this might mean that it is slightly difficult to extract or slightly difficult to refine or so on. That's the broad idea we are getting. Now, if we read the given options, tight gas reservoirs have low permeability. Tight gas requires unconventional extraction methods. Option D, tight gas has high pressure but low flow rates. All these three options resonate or sync with the description of tight gas, the rough description of tight gas that we could derive out of the given word. It's only option C which goes the other side when it says tight gas is found in conventional reserves, which is highly unlikely to be the case. So again, we take that risk. We mark option C. We might go wrong, but here the risk is worth it. Moving ahead, guys, finding our sweet spot. Now, please pay attention to this graph. Now, after discussing with many students, after having many Zoom sessions, and after having spoken to many rankers, like I had this webinar with IAS Shri Krishna a few weeks ago, he said that his sweet spot was somewhere around 80 to 90. If he attempted less than 88 to 90, if he attempted less than 88 questions, he would get lesser marks, and if he attempted more than 90 questions, again he would get lesser marks. So 88 to 90 was his sweet spot. So again, a broad idea is being depicted here. Say the student's sweet spot is 85 questions. If the student attempts 85 questions, he or she is likely to get somewhere around 97 marks. But if the student is attempting lesser, say for example 80 questions, then the student is likely to get lesser marks, that is somewhere around 90. But again, at the other hand, if the student is attempting more, that is if the student is attempting 90 questions, again the score is dropping down somewhere around 89 or so. So in this student's case, the sweet spot is 85. That student should be attempting somewhere around 85 so that he or she can score that optimum marks. Now, this can vary from one student to another. It can be somewhere around 81 to 83 for one, 83 to 85 for another, 85 to 88 for yet another student, and 88 to 90 for some other students. So you'll need to find your sweet spot based on the PYQs that you have practiced and based on the mocks that you have given. Again, to reiterate, Dominate Prelims open mock test to be held on 8th June will also help you determine your sweet spot. Let's quickly move ahead. Understanding paper setters' expectations from us. Guys, here it is very important to understand the language and structure being used in the paper, because based on the past year trends, it can be safely deduced that both language and structure of the paper doesn't change radically. These things always change gradually. So if a particular verbiage, if a particular lingo, if a particular language has been used in the past few years papers, it is highly likely that the same language and structuring of statements and options will be followed in the upcoming papers. Say for example, this is a question from 2021 prelims paper. Here statement 1 says judicial custody means an accused is in the custody of the concerned magistrate and such accused is locked up in the police station, not in jail. So this is a very good example of how UPSC adds superfluous references, unnecessary references to make those statements or options wrong. In this case, if we say that the judicial custody means an accused is in the custody of the concerned magistrate and such accused is locked up in the police station, there is no need to further say not in jail. So that's a superfluous element, that's an unnecessary element that UPSC has added. Similarly, we had this question in open test 2 where statement 3 states the largest amount of sugarcane is produced in Karnataka and not in Uttar Pradesh. So when you say that the largest amount of sugarcane is produced in Karnataka, you have no need to mention that it is not in Uttar Pradesh, not in Maharashtra, not in Jammu and Kashmir, not in Kerala and so on. So that's an unnecessary reference, a superfluous reference. So this is how questions, when you practice questions that mimic real examination format, real examination verbiage and language, you are likely to imbibe that language and perform better in the examination hall. Similarly, guys, importance of revising important yet ignored topics. Again, mock tests help you in this. So for example, this is a question from open test 2 that I had discussed with students after the test, and many students realize that although this information is given in their conventional books, whatever books they have been following, be it Spectrum or other books, it's given there, but they had just ignored it. Say for example, Satya Shodhak Samaj, Jyotiba Phule, Justice Party, there have been multiple questions asked on this. So if UPSC has already asked question on this, we can't afford to neglect these areas. Similarly, there was this question asked in open test 2, and during the discussion after the test, we realized that although this area has been too much into news, many students had ignored the political geography of the region. When the question says the Red Sea is surrounded by which of the following countries, this question or a question on similar lines is highly likely to be asked in the examination, keeping with the trends of past 2-3 years. So the students went back, opened their atlas and studied the political geography of the region, and now they are better placed with respect to mapping of the important region West Asia and other regions which are under conflict. So guys, register for Dominate Prelims Open Test 3 to be held on 8th June. Top 50 students, top 50 rankers among those students will be getting free access to the Dominate Prelims module and scholarship in the mains exam. The open test is free for all. The registration link is provided in the description box. So see you guys in the open test and the subsequent discussion that would follow. See you guys.